Hello, welcome to another wrap up live show. This time I am going to be talking about all of the books and things that I have been reading in the month of June, so last month. And yeah, without further ado, let's get started because this is probably going to be a little bit of a shorter live stream than usual because due to a lot of personal things and random surprises that happened last month, I didn't get a heck of a ton of reading done. And currently, I'm in the midst of a huge move. Basically, I have to sort out and pack away 7 years of my life and move into another apartment. So that that's a reason why I haven't been able to read a lot this month either. So we shall see how next month's wrap up goes. So yeah, let's just get started with my reading. I DNF'd some things, and I actually didn't finish a single webtoon or comic this month. So it's all books and other things. Um, I also went to a convention for the first time since 2019 in person, and I was actually like volunteering in the organizing end of the convention. So that was a nice experience, and I will probably be doing a separate video about my actual volunteering experience in that convention later on. But for now, let's just talk about books. So first up, books that I did not finish, and this is pretty straightforward. There was only the single one. So I was reading A Far Wilder Magic by Alison Soft, and I just didn't really get grabbed by it. Uh it was a weird experience. I basically got to page 60 or so, so um I didn't get very far. I was in the early stages and it was just not grabbing me. So it is a secondary world fantasy, and it is supposed to be a kind of dark romance. And you have two point of view characters who come together in this kind of fraught situation where they have to work together, um, because they both have skills that the other requires to meet this end goal. So um, the other character is a daughter of a renowned alchemist with a kind of tragic family history, and she wants to be able to hunt this spirit in order to help with her mother's research. And the other person is an aspiring alchemist who also wants to be a government politician, but in this world only alchemists are allowed to hold political power, and he kind of joins forces with this girl in order to gain an apprenticeship with her mother. And there are some interesting things about religious bigotry and religious like segregation, almost like people are separated into categories based on their belief systems. And I felt like there was supposed to be a sort of racial component to it as well, but every single character in this book that I encountered was white. So it was incredibly weird to um, kind of have this talk of like bigotry and segregation and xenophobia and racism, because the world didn't really, at least in the early stages, explain or delve deep into what was the modus operandi for the separation. Like, was it the religious belief system? Was that the reason why these people are being um, like systematically ostracized from society? Is it some sort of like racialized component? The book doesn't really explain, So therefore, when you have these characters who are described as porcelain white pale and like very Eurocentrically attractive, you kind of get a feeling like, okay, I need something more to be able to understand the concept of where the like the bigotry in this world operates from, because it has no kind of, it has very little bearing on the real life context that I'm used to. Therefore, I would need some more explanation. The book would have to kind of do something more in order to me to um, have a fuller grasp, you know? So that felt really weird to me. Um, yeah, I basically kind of got bored with it also around the 60th pages, because the writing is very ponderous and very slow moving. So at 60 pages, the main plot hasn't really kicked in yet. So I feel like maybe if I had gone over to like actually reading a full third of this, I might have appreciated it more and been able to get in, but I just wasn't able to stretch myself that far, and I wasn't willing to, so that's why I DNF'd it. So yeah, that's the first book down. Apparently, it is very popular on TikTok and stuff, from what I understand, and I don't really understand why, because I feel like this is a book that would have been very popular like 10 to 15 years ago. It very much has that kind of YA energy to me. It doesn't feel fresh. It feels very like trudging old ground almost. And hi, Jules. And hi, Joe. Nice to have you here. And next, I'm going to be talking about the novels and the rest of the things that I have been reading. So, first of all, I read The Galaxy and the Ground Within by Becky Chambers, and I gave this 4 stars. I really liked it. Um, I will say that the second book, the second book in the Wayfarer series, is probably still my favorite of the whole series, and followed by the first one, then this one, and probably the third book was my least favorite. But I've significantly liked them all more or less, and I just really enjoyed this book and this idea that there's cooperation between people. There's this really um, like stressful situation that happens where people are becoming isolated in this basically a sort of gas station in space, so to speak, and they have to work together to kind of get over um, the situation and like keep hopeful, keep up optimism, and also like not fall into a state of panic. Um, because essentially they become stranded, and it is and every single one of these people has a sort of agenda of where they are going, and they are on a time crunch. So essentially that also brings in its added form of like stress, because they don't know how long it will take for this situation to clear up, but they all have places to be. And I just thought that it was nice to read a book about people working together, and even though they have their differences, they can still be able to put them aside for the benefit of like the whole group, and to work together, and also to learn from one another, and to address situations that and address like toxic behaviors. So this book has like content warnings for isolation. There's a medical emergency at the end tail of the book. There's allusions to colonization and slavery that came packaged with it, and of course there's bigotry and prejudice. And I really liked it. I think it was a nice cap to the series, to the Wayfarer series. This is supposedly going to be the very last one. But I will say that while this concludes the series in a beautiful way, there is still quite a lot of open endedness where Becky Chambers could potentially return to this world and maybe write a novella or another novel. So I think that's like I have this hope that there could be more, and I also think that it ties into this sort of open-endedness of the Wayfarers universe in the whole. Like all of these books are basically small snippets uh, of the world and these kind of small glimpses into a larger world. So yeah, I think the project has been interesting to follow. And then I read almost all of the Hugo Award short story nominees. I won't be talking about them too much in this live because I am planning on making an actual video ranking of how I thought of the short stories and actually going over them. So I have read 5 out of 6 stories and that are nominated in this category, and I am planning to finish out the category tomorrow before I film the ranking video, which should hopefully come out in the span of a week or two. Unfortunately, all of my novels are packed away right now, so I am not expecting to finish out all of the categories. So I'm hoping that aside from short stories, I'm hoping that I could finish out best novelette and best novella before the voting closes, because at least for those I have the e-books available for me to read. So sucks about the novel category that I won't be able to finish it, but it is what it is. So the short stories that I read have been Proof by Induction by Jose Pablo Iriarte, The Sin of America by Catherine M. Valenti, Tangles by Shannon Maguire, Unknown Number by Blue Neustifter, and Where Oaken Hearts Do Gather by Sarah Pensker. And out of these stories, having not read the last one in the um, in the category, I would say that Proof by Induction by Jose Pablo Iriarte or Where Oaken Hearts Do Gather would be my favorite so far. I feel like those had the most interesting, like, not only concept, but also execution. And especially Where Oaken Hearts Do Gather plays around with this sort of social media, like forum, like a chat board, like conversation board, kind of like Reddit but for music, sort of thing. Like if you've ever watched a musical and you've gone over to search for the lyrics, and then people have been commenting on the lyrics and doing like their analysis, and there's these threads that come up when you look at the footnotes of the lyrics. I have seen those, and if you have also, you will appreciate how this basically this whole short story is structured around this community of people who have been obsessing over this one song and going over the lyrics and kind of doing their own like rabbit hole research things around it. So I thought that it was really nice, and then it delves kind of into from this pastiche kind of format, also having a sort of story within a story um, horror element. So I really like that. Proof by Induction by Jose Pablo Iriarte is also like it is very like, I think it's soft and hard sci-fi at the same time. It deals with math, uh, and there's this mathematician who loses his father, and there's this piece of technology where he can converse with the sort of snapshot that has been taken from his father before he died, and he can converse with that snapshot version of his father in like a sort of virtual reality, and there he tries to at the same time process his grief around losing his father, but also work around this famous math problem that his father never solved. And it's an interesting thing because it's kind of like you have this science fiction element that's only there to sort of facilitate this larger story around grief and how we deal with it and around humanity. So I thought that it was a really nice. So those have been my favorites so far, but expect me to do a video covering all of the short story nominees that I have read once I get to them. So that is going to be a thing that is happening. And finally, the last thing that I finished, and I have a full wrap up discussion, live discussion going on uh, that I did last week with Rachel from Kalanadi. So that is already available on my channel, a full discussion about this anthology. The Way Spring Arrives and Other Stories, which was edited by Yu Chen and Regina Kanyu Wang. I gave this 4 stars. I thought that it was really amazing. This is a short story anthology all about stories that are translated, and it also has essays that delve into the process and the sort of craftsmanship of translation. So it was really interesting. And yeah, Joe, you should, but take your time. It was a very nice discussion. And I actually got the privilege to see Regina Kanyu Wang at this convention I was at last week. So I went to see her interview because she was being interviewed at the convention, and she said some really interesting things. For one, because the anthology is built as a collection of Chinese science fiction and fantasy in translation from a visionary team of female and non-binary creators, um, she was criticized a bit for it, as saying that doesn't the title and the billing of the book kind of conflate non-binary identities with women when non-binary identities are their own separate thing, so they're not women light or men light, they're their own thing. And Regina Kanye Wang said that obviously there is this possibility, and there's this fear that you end up conflating these two identities and of women and non-binary people, and there is a danger of it becoming problematic and offensive. However, because in China there aren't that many people who are out and who feel safe to be out as non-binary, the creative team felt that there needed to be um, an acknowledgement, and they needed to address that parts of these stories were by non-binary creators, that they couldn't just say that this is a collection by women, because that would have ended up erasing their identities. So I thought that was really interesting. I also thought it interesting that the way um, this collection was built was very collaborative. So there were the people on the Tor.com, like there were the people on the publishing side in the English market that were doing like reviews of all the like stories that were being collected by Yu Chen and Regina Kanye Wang and the team. But then there was also this process of like getting people from the Chinese market to actually invest in the collection and to bring forth suggestions and bring forth their work for the story as well, or the collection as well. So I thought that it was interesting about of how this collection came about. Like there was this sort of um, like a casting call process almost for the different stories. And yeah, I thought that the interview was really interesting, and I really liked it, and it gave me a much more deeper understanding of this collection, which I thought was really nice in and of itself. So I'm very glad I went. So The Way Spring Arrives is a short story collection, as I said, and I read it as part of the Shorts and Sorcery book club that I host every month. And I thought that it was really interesting. There were obviously some stories that didn't work for me quite as well, but in connection with all of the essays that delve into the art of translation, I thought that this was a fantastic collection. It was really fun to read, and I enjoyed uh, a lot of it. And yeah, if you have time, go watch the full discussion that me and Rachel had around this anthology. It was really fun. So I gave this 4 stars. And content warnings, obviously, it's a little bit difficult to give content warnings as a blanket statement for an entire anthology because each story comes with its own content warnings. But the major ones that I thought about is like manipulation of other people is a pretty standard thing that happens in most of the stories. There's gore, there's abandonment, there's death. A lot of these stories touch on colonization, and there's also torture. So keep in mind that the stories may have uh, other content, other content in them that I just can't put out in a blanket statement about what the content warnings would be because each story has its own. So yeah, I mean, this is why we have recordings so that everyone can watch them at their own time. So don't worry about missing it. You won't be missing out when you watch a recording. So it's okay. You can even watch a recording of these wrap up live shows as well. So those were actually all of the books that I read in June. Voila, that was it. But before I go, um, like this has been only 20 minutes. I'm sure I can stretch it to like around 30. So what's been going on? I am in the process of moving. I have found an apartment. um, it's a very nice apartment, so I'm very happy about that. Moving is a little bit stressful. I've been packing around 3 boxes per day. And I still haven't finished packing all my books, even though I have been packing every day. I have a lot of them. And I also was in the organizing committee of FinCon, which is a Finnish science fiction and fantasy convention that was hosted last week. And I had a lot of fun. I was volunteering at the info desk. I was doing a lot of like the English um, sort of marketing and communications. And yeah, it was a fun time. And I was really happy to be able to go to a physical convention for the first time in since forever, considering that uh, Worldcon is coming in Chicago, and I have booked tickets. I have my flights. Hotels are like sorted out and stuff, and I have a cat sitter. So it's like nice to have a little bit of a warm up. Um, so that I get to go to an actual like a bigger event physically as well. I mean, I can't wait either. I can't wait to have sort of a fresh start. So that will be very interesting. So um, yeah, it's like it's a lot. Like it's stressful. It's kind of like anxiety inducing, but I'm also really excited about like actually being able to decorate my own place and um having like a place for my own, and yeah, it's gonna be good. Yes, like also like I've been living in this current apartment for the last 6 years. um but I have like I have lived here for 6 years, but the last time I moved I didn't really do a lot of like, I just basically moved all of my stuff as is to this apartment. So I have practically 7 years worth of stuff. So I have been going over all of the things, um, to like trying to downsize as much as possible. One of my friends was over here today to like help me go over my closet, and I just like basically had to be brutal around like, okay, I won't keep this. This doesn't fit me anymore. I have grown out of this style, blah blah blah. I just like had to be brutal, and I've had to be the same way about books. Like, am I really going to read this? Or am I really going to reread this? So I have tried to like downsize with books as well. But honestly, with books, I don't want to downsize that much. I like books. I like having them around. Yes, indeed. Like, knock on wood that nothing major happens, but Chicago, I am coming for you. Yeah, this is honestly a scary thing because, well, I have hired a moving company, so I have professional help that will come and take my stuff, and also like, my mom is coming to help and stuff. So and also like, um, Vold is going to help me move. So like I have a smaller team of people who are helping me move, but I'm just glad that this transition period of me moving to a new place is like I don't have to do it in like bad faith, and like we don't like I don't have any ill will around this situation that I have. So I'm hoping that with a team of 4 people, we can actually like move the stuff relatively easy to the new place. But yeah, like majority of those boxes are going to be books. Like there's going to be a few furniture. There's going to be like my clothes and stuff. But honestly, there's so many books. I feel like I have now packed around like 15 or so boxes, and it's just books. Ugh. Okay, Joe, let's not paint devils on walls. Like, it is good to be realistic and follow the situation, but we shall keep an optimistic and open mind about like not having our flights cancelled and whatnot. So it's gonna be okay. And also, no matter what anyone says, I am going to be wearing a mask on airports and on planes and on everywhere where there's indoors. So that's like, unlike some other people, I still believe that we are actually in a pandemic. So precautions. Um, but yeah, I am really excited. I feel like I am currently more excited and optimistic that I have been in a long time about anything like related to life, related to work, related to things. I just feel like I'm in a better mindset, um, in terms of like having hope for things, and like having hope for myself as well. I'm just a little sad that it has had to come at the cost of basically unraveling my whole life and having to start over in certain senses. But um I still feel like in the long run it will be worth it, and I will hopefully be a stronger person for it. So yeah. And thank you so much for like hanging out with me and listen to me ramble about books. And before I go, I will just like to remind you that tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern European Summertime, there will be a Stitch and Bitch live show on my channel as well. So I will be joined by Rachel, Bree, and Diana to talk about books and crafts and popular culture. So if you have time, you can tune in for that as well, and it will be a fun time. Yes, yes, this. I mean, I I feel like at times um, I don't, for example, I don't wear a mask outside as much anymore if there are not a lot of people, but I still try to wear a mask on like public transport and in shopping centers and at stores because like I just feel very stressed out, especially with the new variants that are very contagious. So yeah, and I'm definitely going to be getting like those FFP3 filtered masks for my trip to Chicago. Yay! I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And yes, come on over. That's actually a feat considering that what we've been doing this since 2019 or so. Like it's been like, or did we actually might have started on 2018. Like we've been doing Sitch and Bitch for quite a long time now. So yeah, and I'm really excited for tomorrow. So yeah, I will stop here. I have rambled on about all of the books. I have promoted Stitch and Bitch. I have talked about my personal life. So I will see you in another video. I will see you in another video soon, and I will also see you in another live show tomorrow. So bye bye.